Got a little bit ahead of myself. I jumped in before I started filming, but haven't really changed much. All I did was I did a couple. I ran essentially, what are these, 20 gauge, 18 gauge wires through my umbilical, and they're gonna spit out this side. And I tested this relay. So this cord off of our loop controller is SH number 322702. That's the cord. I'm guessing all of them have this relay. And what you need to know is that so I can't go direct off the relay because it sends signal back, but I tied into the powers on this relay, and if I turn on the, so this is hot, this is cold, or vice versa, I can't remember. But what I will show you, let's see if I can find a spot to mount my camera. It's not going to find any sensors right now. So that tells you whether the clutches are enabled or not. So as it stands right now, the clutch is off, and these two have no power. Let's see if I can put that where you can see that too. So, come on, stay there. No power if I touch it. Now, if I engage my clutch by pressing back, clutch is full, so it's running. Stay. And these two will have voltage across them. Don't really care which way it goes. You can see 11.15 volts across. Don't really care if it's positive or negative, just I need it to act like a switch. So it does. Turn that off, turn that off. Cool. So now we're gonna run, and so I need to have a break right there, so I wired in this little quick connect. And it's gonna run all the way to the other end, where it's going to plug into this relay, which will act as a button. So just showing you a quick little run. It's going to go up there and connect, but I just took the extension out, and I just wanted to make sure that this relay was rigged in correctly. And so I've got my power going to the two sides. Sorry, these two sides, the white and the black. So power coming from the other umbilical. And as you can see, the clutch is off right now. So I've got my multimeter on continuity. And then if I hit and engage my clutches, my multimeter starts speaking to me. So that's essentially like I'm pressing a button down, which is what's going to make that guy paint, which is going to make the climate field view log data. Perfect. So on the A side, or A port of our CFX 750, we had a single wire going in. I'm not 100% sure what it is or what it controls, but if you can see, it's on the number 2. And these Deutsch connectors are actually super easy to undo. So you go to the input side. So it normally sits in, and all you got to do is put a pair of needle nose in and just yank that out. And then you will see, I've actually got this one open. Where are we? This is my new add-on that I'm going to have to program. Come on, focus. Really hard working with one hand here. But all you got to do is reach in there with a small screwdriver and probably open a tab and then pull on the wire, and it pops out like nothing. And to put it in, all you got to do is you just got to make sure you get a little bit of angle on those pins when you slide them in, and push them in until they click. I'm lucky because I had this made for me beforehand. Otherwise, you need like a special crimping tool for these Deutsch connectors. All right, so we're out here. I'm testing some. I just set up a fake implement, obviously not towing anything, just to make sure that I didn't plug anything into the GPS incorrectly. Now, the one thing, suddenly, I don't know why, it may have been tweaking a feature or something that I don't remember in the fall when I was pulling the disc, is that it's not painting yellow when the auto steer is engaged. So I think I may have turned that off, which is fine. So everything's working. So now I'm going to go into the next step, which is to set up my virtual switch, which is connected to the Seedhawk loop controller. I'm going to turn around. And what I want it to do is to paint yellow when I'm applying product, air quotes. So Zach from Canada West Harvest Center in Saskatoon, he's one of the Trimble tech support guys for Canada. At least that's where their website directed me. And he told me what I need to do, and he sent me this printout. So we're going to do the setup according to this. And this is actually a bulletin. It's not in the manual, but it is a May 5th ag support note. FMX integrated display and CFX display configuring remote coverage logging. So if you're looking for this, that's probably what you're going to have to Google or search for on the Trimble site. First step, install a switch. One thing that kind of worries me is it shows this one in particular, this, what is it? Trimble 60477S. I don't know what that is. I don't have that switch. But the one thing I saw is it's got a 5 volt and a signal and a blank. I'm hoping that it doesn't need voltage. It shouldn't. To operate as a switch, I don't think it will need it. But what I have done is I connected the pin A of the switch. Well, I don't know, and that's where it gets questionable. I have mine in poles 10 and 11, like it says here, but I don't have voltage. Mine is just a continuity. So let's see what happens. But it's hooked up exactly as I said here. I'm really hoping this works. But so configuring the FMX integrated display, I don't have that. I'm guessing they're the same. Oh, nope, there's one on the back here. Configuring the CFX 750, tap the wrench icon. In settings, tap guidance. Tap coverage settings. Coverage logging. Go to, I think it says tap switch. I don't have a delay in there. I might have to put a delay in. I probably will. That might be tricky. But on the final page here of the FMX one, I recall it saying the high and the low. So change logging when selected. So active, let's read this out. So high, logging occurs when the circuit is closed. And I think that's what the case is going to be the way I've got it set up. So I'm going to change that to active high, and we'll see what happens. And then we'll back out. And let's cross our fingers and hope I did this right. First of all, let's get on our line. I was on this line before. This one over on the blue. Or now it's our selected line. So first things first, we are not logging when the auto steer is on, which is perfect. Now, cross our fingers, I'm going to fire up the clutch or simulate that. And if you can see, it is working. That's awesome. And now I'm gonna go offline and make sure it's still applying. It sure looks like it. I've got just a fake implement set up, and I put a long draft bar on just because. But it sure seems to be working. I'm gonna catch another line here just in case it wants to shut itself off, but I think we've got everything going here, guys. I got a hugely long draft bar or drawbar, but it's working. And so if I shut off the clutch, it stops recording. If I turn it back on, it starts planting. Oh, I'm happy with that. All right, so I went and hooked up the Climate FieldView, this cable. So as soon as I did that, I got an error, and I haven't programmed anything because I want to do this step by step. I haven't changed any of the settings, but as soon as everything was working, and then so I shut everything off and I plugged it in, powered everything back up, and I get an error that says direction, I'm guessing estimated, not initialized or established. So I'm hoping that goes away once I do the programming setup here. But I'm just going to stop recording for a second, take a picture so I've got that, and then I'll get back to. Alright, so as it says, home screen settings, which is the wrench. Come here. Why aren't you selecting? There. Vehicle. Auto steer setup. Then I go to advanced settings. NMEA output. I need to enable that. I need to set the baud rate. Where am I? So we're down here. It says 19,200, 34,800, or sorry, 38,400. So just multiples of 19,200 by the look of it. Because that's times 1 times 2 times 3. Or that'd be times 6, I'm guessing. So let's do the lowest one, which is double what we were set at. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it. The GGA needs to be set at 1 hertz. And the VTG also to 1 hertz. That's it, apparently. Now let's see what happens. Still says direction not established. That's concerning. But maybe it was something I did wrong off the get-go where I didn't get... Oh yeah, see, it went away. Now, before I hook anything up and link whatnot, just going to confirm everything's still working. Speed up a little bit. The ground's still pretty hard, so it's a bit shaky, but it's smooth ride in the cab, just noisy, as usual. So, as you can see, the auto steer is following just as it should. Now I'm going to test the clutch again, make sure it auto paints. And that's the other thing, I wanted to make sure it shows double where it overlaps. So if I do a loop-de-loop over here, because there's spots where we do laps around sloughs and or just the swath don't work out even, and I want to see if that shows up on the, and so you get double application. I want to see if that shows up where, you know, we end up over fertilizing in those places. I want to see if that shows up in the virtual maps as well as the yield. Now we are going to do the initial pairing, and kind of as you can see, I've just got my OtterBox prop here because my my ball mount is on back order. All right, we're going to go into the cab app. We're going to go to devices. We're going to pair a new drive. Bluetooth pairing must be done within settings. Let's go settings. Okay, let's go Bluetooth, and we are looking for drive EO7. Oh, EO7 and a whole bunch of others. So I'm guessing that's that one, because that's the only drive in here, so we're connected. The only other Bluetooth might be the radio, but that shows up as oh geez, I can't even remember. So let's go back to the FieldView cab app, and it says we're paired. So let's tap to connect. I'm just going to give this a short name, so drive 01, and I think I'm just going to end up putting a I have a label maker at home, and I'll just put a tab that says like drive 01 here. And then probably put on the bottom of the iPad or something drive 01 here, so that we know which one it's paired to, so we're not cross-talking. Next. Right now it is on the 610 Delta track, and I'm going to pull the fake disc. Next. It says you've added a new drive, blah. In case of loss. Okay, so I haven't picked up the SIM cards for these babies yet, so it will log it to the iPad, and it'll store it, and we'll have to go manually offload it. All right, so it says we're paired, and remember, if it's blue, solid blue, it means you're paired. So everything's good there. It says please disconnect from drive, but we want to stay connected to the drive. So let's go home. Aha, that's where we needed to be. Let's go to map. This is kind of cool because it already identified everything. It says I'm not tilling, so this is what I wanted to get rid of, which is this. We could have actually manually tapped it, but that would have got old after about 10 minutes. So now I am going to do a lap here because I'm pointed in the wrong direction. We got auto steer enabled. Let's see what happens when I push, when I start the clutch. All right, so we are reading the right ground speed, there's a couple possibilities that I haven't set up things correctly. So let's just stop this. I just wonder if I tap it. Oh yeah, see, I'm not in an active field. That was me. That was my bad. That's kind of what I was thinking. So select field. We are, I think it's saved as home. Who are we under? This is Lyle, so Lyle home is what it is. Yes. Okay, so I just pass name, fake disk. I'm just doing that so I can delete it later. So everything else looks good. Let's try it again. So let's get moving again. Well, I think I may have misspoken. I'm waiting on the Climate FieldView guy to get back to me. But doing some internet research, I noticed, you can see I was really playing around, and the Trimble is working right, exactly as I hoped it would. So like now it's applying, but down here it's not. You actually have to hit the button to start. It isn't the worst thing in the world, because I was reading online that it acts like you've got perfect sectional control and everything. So you'll just have to update your rates, which we knew we would have to, but it won't auto paint like this guy will. You can see the mess I got going because I've been over this 4 or 5 times. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm a little bit disappointed, is that but it's not like you got to get, every time you get to the headland, you got to turn it off. It'll automatically do that for you. So it's not the worst thing in the world. You just got to remember to hit it when you start. Turn it off when you stop, or when you go to run across the field. It's very minor, but I was hoping for a bit better. Maybe I shouldn't even say better. It's going to be good data. It's just not going to be perfect. And that could partially be me to blame because of how I understood it, or maybe how I hoped it would work. But overall, I still think it's going to be a great platform. Trying to go around that. That was a bit softer than I thought it was going to be this time of year. So I'll shut that off.